Hey everyone, I'm the Canadian lad, and in this video I'm gonna be breaking down episode 3 of WandaVision. I'm gonna go shot by shot in order to find hidden details and Easter eggs, so there's gonna be a bunch of spoilers. But before that, please spare me just 56 seconds to thank today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is no new brand to my channel. If you lads have been following my videos, you have probably heard me talk about Skillshare many times before. That's because there are so many different courses to check out. I'm looking forward to expanding my knowledge on photo editing. And Emily Zetskar has a really great course about iPhone photography. She teaches you about composition and colors and even suggests the best editing apps to use. Skillshare also offers tons of other classes and subjects like drawing, writing, filmmaking, and so much more. Classes can be a great way to help you structure your time and set up achievable goals. So why not make this year great and learn a new skill on Skillshare? Right now, Skillshare is giving away 2 free months of premium membership to the first 1,000 people who will click my link in description. And after that, it's only around $10 a month. So if you want to learn something new, click on my link below. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. So episode 3 begins with a montage that shows Wanda and Vision are happily living their married life. We can see Wanda cleaning her living room using her powers, while reading a magazine titled Glamorous, which is a recurring thing as we saw in episode 2, that Wanda calls herself Glamour.
I am Glamour and he's Illusion.
And notice in this episode, the hexagons are a big deal. Not only they're more visible this time, but it also comes with a pattern. What I found is, whenever Vision is alone in the screen, the hexagons around him are red, and in case of Wanda, they're blue. Then we see them buying a baby crib, and out of all people, Agnes is helping Wanda buy baby clothes. Vision then finally puts together the swing set, which eventually breaks apart, kinda like the reality they're in. This is all gonna break apart at some time. Vision is also reading a book on pregnancy, but notice the cover on the book. It doesn't look like a usual book that teaches you about pregnancy. I'll explain it in a minute. Vision and Wanda are then visited by their doctor, who says Wanda is 4 months pregnant.
You're at about 4 months now. Is that right?
But Vision constantly keeps asking the doctor how did this happen overnight, but Wanda of course stops him. Vision then tells the doctor to keep the news of pregnancy a secret, and there he sees something really weird. Mr. Earp cut through the concrete wall and was acting really strange, almost as if he's glitching inside this warped reality. Wanda then starts putting the baby crib together as well as putting new paint on the baby's room. Then the babies kick for the first time, and as soon as that happens, this happens.
Oh, did I do that? I didn't mean to.
Here we see Wanda admitting to the fact that she subconsciously does change the reality around her. As soon as life starts growing inside her belly, the artificial butterflies also get a life of their own. Then we hear the names of the child for the first time.
I can't wait to meet you, little Billy.
Thinking Tommy. Just a nice classic all-American name.
In the comics, Billy and Tommy both are Wanda's twins. Billy aka Wiccan and Tommy aka Speed. In the original House of M comics, the first children were always referred to as William and Thomas, whereas Billy and Tommy were specifically reserved for their later incarnated selves. Wanda then begins to have a lot of contractions, and they practice a breathing exercise mentioned in the book to help tolerate the pain. But then she really begins to have stronger contractions, and as a result, the power goes out on the entire block. Vision then goes out to check on the neighbors. Then we cut to Dottie's house.
Do these earrings make me look fat?
Oh, thank God.
Now this scene actually had me laughing, and the fact that Phil is married to Dottie is absolutely hilarious. Now notice the newspaper that Phil is reading has a headline about 2 fire hydrants being added, but from the angle that we're seeing, it clearly looks like the word Hydra. Now the keyword here is 2, not 1 hydrant but 2. Dottie's lamp is also a statue of twins, and the intro showed Wanda and Vision riding a tandem bike, and the lyrics in the intro goes 1 + 1 is more than 2.
1 + 1 is more than 2.
All of this were foreshadowing the arrival of the twins. And then comes the first WTF moment in this episode. Wanda asks Vision about the neighbors, whether they know it's all Wanda's fault, that it's she who caused the blackout. But this causes Vision to rethink about the reality. He realizes that everything seems weird, and things don't really add up that well. And just like that, the entire episode glitches and comes back to the beginning of the conversation. Now I'll be honest, I really had to rewind the playback myself, but then I realized it was meant to be there. So this is what I think. Whenever somebody else starts questioning Wanda, intentionally or not, she somehow ends up hurting them. But when it's Vision who starts realizing there's something wrong, instead of hurting the love of her life, she just simply rewinds the time back. Now cut to another contraction of Wanda, but this time her water breaks, which causes a rain-like shower inside their room. And this ends the first half of this episode, where we now get to see the third commercial or the ad break. We see the same actor playing a mom who is having difficulty dealing with the problems in her life. So the voiceover says, "Do you need a break? Come with me, escape to a world all your own, where your problems float away, when you want to get away but you don't want to go anywhere." This, after all, seems to be exactly what Wanda has done. Escape to a sitcom world where there are no real problems, to get away from her grief at having lost Vision. But the fact that it seems to have been made by Hydra might give us a reason to be concerned. Anyway, then Wanda accidentally brings the stork to life, just like she did with the butterflies. And she could control the butterflies, but this stork is resistant to her magic. She tries to either evaporate it or make it disappear multiple times, but her magic didn't seem to do anything, so she must not have complete control over Westview. Or my theory is this stork was Mephisto himself, keeping an eye at Wanda, therefore the red mist. Also, the stork was just beside a crying baby, and Mephisto in the comics takes away Wanda's child, so it all adds up, and this could just be another reference to Mephisto. Now listen to the reason Geraldine came to visit Wanda's house.
But first, I gotta borrow a bucket.
Somehow, all the pipes in my ceiling burst at once, and I gotta build my...
So when Wanda's water broke, it affected the entire neighborhood's pipeline. But here's something I found. Later in the episode, Agnes tells Vision that Geraldine has no home in Westview.
No home.
What?
Now, if Geraldine, aka Monica, has no home in this reality, then how come she showed up at Wanda's to borrow a bucket because her pipes burst? So this foreshadowed that she was clearly lying. Now, to hide the fact from Geraldine that she is pregnant, Wanda was trying to contain her screams in the kitchen. And out of nowhere, she got a raincoat and then a very expensive robe, which actually surprised her too. So I'm guessing that the contraction and the false labor pain are playing with Wanda's powers and are causing her to do stuff that she doesn't really intend to do. And then Vision goes to bring the doctor, and Wanda successfully gives birth to her first baby, Tommy. Vision and Wanda share a lovely moment where Wanda tells Vision to hold the baby as himself. I mean, Lizzie and Paul's acting in this episode was incredible. And then comes the second kid, who they name Billy. And through all this process, Geraldine was there to help her. And that's when the doctor makes a very sexist comment. Instead of telling Geraldine that she can be a great doctor as well, he just says she can be a great nurse. Then Vision walks the doctor out, but the doc says something really creepy.
Small towns, so hard to escape.
Right after this conversation with the doctor, Vision sees Agnes and Herb gossiping. So Vision asks them if they also lost power, and the reply he got from Agnes really plants the seed for Mephisto.
But Ralph looks better in the dark, so I'm not complaining.
So the fact that Ralph, the unseen husband of Agnes, looks better in the dark, the devil is not only in the details, all these comments from Agnes really opens the door for Mephisto. And remember I said I will talk about this book cover? We can connect it to what Agnes just said. Ralph looks better in the dark, and in the cover someone is standing in the dark. It's so dark we can't even make a face out of it. And that's also when Vision comes to know the truth about Geraldine.
No home.
What do you mean she has no home?
While Vision is learning the truth from Agnes, inside the house are Wanda and Geraldine. Here, for the first time ever since Age of Ultron, we get a mention of Pietro, aka Quicksilver in the MCU.
I had a brother. His name was Pietro.
Right after mentioning Pietro, Wanda starts singing to her twins, and true Marvel fans will notice that her Sokovian accent has also made a comeback. But the second WTF moment is what Geraldine says afterwards.
He was killed by Ultron, wasn't he?
Now Wanda begins to get suspicious and gets more and more hostile towards Geraldine, aka Monica. She then notices the necklace on Monica's neck, which has a sword symbol on it, and looks like Wanda clearly knows what it means. In all the movies she's in, Wanda does a head tilt before she unleashes her power on someone. And when she's confronting Geraldine, she does her head tilt. And then the camera goes back to Vision. And Vision is also getting suspicious, not only about Monica but the entire Westview itself. Mr. Herb was about to tell Vision that we're all trapped in this fake reality, but Agnes stops him.
She came here because we're all She came here because we're all what?
Then Vision runs home and sees Monica is no longer there. Wanda says she had to rush home, but Vision now knows she has no home. And I just love the way Elizabeth Olsen switches from contentment to grief to frightening. That was perfect. She embodies Wanda very well and walks that line that the show needs flawlessly. Then the episode ends with Monica returning to the real world after getting thrown out of Wanda's reality. And here comes the biggest WTF moment from this episode. Look at all these portal effects and the sound coming off of these portals. It looks exactly like the portal that Monica came through flying, which means Westview is actually taking place in a real-life world physically, and S.W.O.R.D. is sending people in and out in order to help or maybe stop Wanda. Or maybe S.W.O.R.D. itself sent Wanda into this fake universe. But if they did, why would they keep asking who's doing this to you, Wanda? And another interesting detail is, every time Wanda reverses or changes things, she is splitting the timeline into a multiverse. Those things still happen, just not in her world. And that's how today's episode ends. I'll be watching this episode at 0.25x speed soon, and I'll shortly upload another video on that. Now, if you take a look at the official Canadian Lad merch store at thecanadianlad.merchforall.com, I would really appreciate it. And whatever products you purchase, you can take a picture after putting it on and send it to me so that I can feature them at the end of my videos. Please grab the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with all my WandaVision breakdowns, and please give me a thumbs up, which helps me immensely. Till then, I'll see you lads in the next one.